everyone, and welcome back here to Flexline Productions as we bring you coverage of the Southside Smackdown, the 18th edition out here in Mobile, Alabama. My name is Dustin Mouret, and joining me on the commentary is local here, Kyle Simmons. How's it going, sir?
What's up, Dustin? Glad to be here.
Yeah, looking forward to this feature car we got here. Cameron Colglazier going to be leading things off, obviously one of our local strongest talents, and we got old Josh Hollingsworth and Christopher Downey, also going to be a part of this feature card. Again, two other players who usually perform really well in this area. And then Chase Bowen, another local MPO player who, again, usually can see him near the top of the leaderboard, and so it should be a good time as we get the whole one here at the University of South Alabama.
So most guys on hole one, I would assume they're going to go driver, backhand. You might see a couple of forehands, but it's a pretty straightforward hole. Get it over the water, make your putt.
It does play slightly uphill, so I would say it plays a little longer than the 357. But that is going to slide up right near the edge of circle one for Cam, so it should be looking good. Hollingsworth is next. I would imagine he's looking to play some type of flex forehand, just kind of knowing his game.
Powerful forehand, puts a little flex on it. Looks like it's fighting back.
Oh boy. Hopefully he didn't get too much into the rough back there. He did play a little deep with the skip, so that could leave him with an obstructed putt, but looked like an ace run for a second. So we'll get to Downey, who's probably throwing mid, maybe fairway. Worth noting, all these guys are open bag players. I mean, Cam is sponsored by Infinite Disc and EV7, but that allows him to play with the open bag, so we'll see a mixed array of disc. I know that Downey does like to throw a lot of Innova, and I believe Chase is very much the same, but
Smooth rip from Chase. Turn out of his hand. And that's par.
yeah, that is the ideal line for this hole. Just kind of hugging that right-hand side of the fairway for as long as you can and then breaking out as you approach the pin.
And I love that shot. It opens up the fairway the most to hold it on the left side and pull it off into the basket.
It's probably like a 35 to 40 foot putt here for Downey, and just going to be a little low. See what Cam can do here. Looks like he's just maybe on the edge of circle one, maybe just outside. Hard to tell.
I would like to blame early round jitters, but from a player like Cam, you expect him to make those putts on the first hole and the last hole.
That's fair. So maybe taking a second to warm up. Chase will skate that one in there. So he was real close, and I believe Hollingsworth's also real close. Again, I just don't know if he's obstructed or anything like that being in those woods. Downey will just easily tap in with a par. Doesn't look like he's too deep in there, so it should be like maybe just a straddle out.
And perfect.
Absolutely. So 2 birdies on the card and 2 pars to kick things off here at USA. I think Cam looks like he's a little bit obstructed for his par safe putt here. Has to get down to a knee, not the most ideal situation, but he's close, so it shouldn't be a problem.
Just a tap in there for Cam to wrap up his par.
Now we're off to hole number 2. Want to throw a shot that moves a little bit left to right. You see a lot of backhand turnover plays here, but also could see some forehands. Kind of want to get through that main gap on the left-hand side to the right of those bushes.
And that isn't where you don't want to be. There's some thick bushes on the left side of the fairway that if you turn over or pull your forehand a little too far into them, I mean, you can be absolutely trapped.
That is very true. It can be very difficult to scramble. I mean, you're pretty much just pitching back to the fairway in a lot of cases if you're stuck too deep over there. So Chase playing that backhand turnover, which I think is the ideal shot shape. You kind of want the disc to come back a little bit at the end of the flight and straighten out.
I think the real difficult part about this shot is getting under the ceiling right there, which he did perfectly. As you make it through the gap, there are some overhanging limbs that kind of make it difficult.
Gotta get better catching my glasses like Matty.
That is pretty much as good as it gets for a backhand turnover on this hole. So really well executed there by Chase Bowen, as we are going to see Cam going forehand here. And that too flips up a little bit too much.
Similar spots to Hollingsworth. We'll see what they have out of there.
Backhand turnover here for Downey. Probably a rock, knowing him. Man loves his rocks.
Rip.
He loves that one a lot.
Shot, Chris.
Oh, baby. That is parked.
Those are just my favorite shots to watch. Watching a guy just snap on a mid-range and letting it turn over at the end of his flight, it's just a master.
Yeah. Yeah, the slow turning backhand is definitely a fun shot to watch. As Cam's kind of eyeing up his options here. Probably either, looks like he's going to try to throw some type of forehand out. Can't tell if that was a scepter or one of his A3s or something like that, but just looking to chop something out of there. I mean, again, that's kind of all you really can do in a lot of situations when you're stuck over there. As you heard, there ain't anything right there.
Hollingsworth had a great break. He's got just a pitch up forehand. And he'll secure his par with that.
Absolutely. Cam's going to have to work for his. Looks like he has a pretty lengthy putt ahead to get it. Worth noting, none of that's OB behind the basket. Only the road is OB, so no need to worry about that shell sidewalk. All right.
Great catch by the mock baskets.
You know, they don't get that compliment too often.
No, they do not.
especially that old of a mock basket, but it was friendly to him. Yes.
Every once in a while, they'll surprise you with something miraculous.
That is true. That is true. Which I know that South is looking to get these replaced at some point. Matt Gibbons, who kind of runs, honestly, the USA Disc Golf Club and is a player, competes in the college tournaments. I know he works really hard on trying to raise funds to spruce this course up in the future years, so then look out for that.
And he does a great job. I mean, later on in the round, we'll see a couple of new holes that he introduced in the past year, and I think they're great additions. They add a little bit of variety, add a little bit more length, and we'll see how the players attack those holes.
Now back to a classic here. Usually, I mean, you want a right to left moving shot. Usually you want to kind of force something over on this right-hand side, let it slowly drift left. That's exactly what Chase has done. If you can just get to the right of that big tree, which he did, usually you're going to be rewarded with a good landing zone.
I got to get better like Matt and catch my glasses more.
And it's hard to tell from the camera just how close that tree on the right is to your line, but you do have to hug that very tight, and it's a real threat of kicking you left into all of the bushes.
Yep. You can throw like more of a hyzer flip right up the gut if you want with like a putter or something, but that's a little bit harder to control. Usually playing that wide gap on the right is the way to go, as you've seen both of our players do. Or you can be like this guy, which I'm surprised it took 2 holes for him to do it, but here comes his first overhand of the round. You'll be seeing a lot of these. Okay.
I mean, if I could do that every time, I would throw a lot more overhands too.
I think I would need a lot of physical therapy to be able to do that. Of course, he was a collegiate baseball pitcher. He threw in the 90s, I'm pretty sure, so he definitely has that overhand arm motion. Cam catches the one tree you want to miss. You want to be to the right of that tree, and that's going to catch him up early.
But not much in his way on his upshot, and that should be an easy tap in for his par.
This hole's deceiving, man. It looks so easy because of the distance and such, but when you step up to that tee pad, you realize that you don't have that much wiggle room.
Chase dead center putt for his birdie.
3 through 3. A little hot start there for Bowen.
And that's what you need on this course. The first 6 holes or so, I mean, you really want to be scoring on those holes because in the back it starts getting a lot tighter.
Absolutely. So we will see Hollingsworth here come tapping his birdie. So he's 2 down through 3, same as Downey. Cam yet to get off the starting block, still at even, hasn't taken any damage, but again, these are definitely a couple of holes you really want to be getting, and this is another one that, as long as you can keep something nice and straight, you should be good to go. Just whatever your straightest shot is, that's what you're looking to do on this hole.
The biggest challenge on this hole is the height.
Yep.
You have to get it high enough to get over or through that little fence, and the hole is slightly uphill the whole way.
Yeah, definitely looking to kind of challenge a slightly low ceiling while trying to stay as straight as possible. If you kick off left or right, it's a crapshoot what you'll have left. And that looks maybe a little early from Downey, but fights through pretty well.
That was me.
And honestly, even if you have a disc come low, if it's fast enough, you can usually see it skip forward a decent bit, maybe get under the fence and still get yourself in the circle. So.
And what I see a lot of times is guys will hyzer out a little early, but there's a ridge that kind of anti-skips them towards the basket if they have enough speed coming uphill. And Hollingsworth turned his over. I think it kicked left. He's going to be scrambling for his bar.
Yeah, most of these guys are probably throwing mid, maybe fairway driver on these backhands, just trying to hyzer flip something, again, just as straight as you can. This looks like a mid in Cam's hands. That should be good.
Right.
This is so dumb.
Cam hates this right there. Called it dumb. An inanimate object.
Actually, Hollingsworth's not too bad off. This is definitely a tough birdie putt, but at least it's open.
And that's actually a great result with the shot he threw. He could have got a terrible kick off to the right. And
I agree. Just a little short from Downey there, but no big deal. Here's Chase. He's just inside the circle with this putt. Usually if you get past this fence, you're usually at least 35 feet away. Oh, didn't quite commit.
no, Chase hated it out of his hand. And he has that nose down putt, so he does have to give it a lot of height and just didn't have it that time.
Exactly. Cam,
Okay.
by sneaking in there and getting his first birdie of the round. And no one else grabbed it on this hole, so that'll allow him to gain a little bit of ground on the competition on this feature card. So I'm just glad we had nice weather this year. Last year's Smackdown, nightmare. And generally speaking, Mobile, man, this time of year that this was filmed, you just never know.
No, if it's a crapshoot, it could thunderstorm and then be sunny in 15 minutes later.
Yeah, speaking of crapshoots, get ready to play some root roulette on hole 5 at USA. Well, you're just hoping to skip something and not get caught up on these roots. And, well, Cam, he's unfortunately bet on red and rolled a black. This hole just... This is one hole that kind of sticks out as like the sore thumb of the course. It's not necessarily a bad hole, but it is a little bit of a dice roll on what kind of skip you're going to get.
Yeah, but it's definitely a little fluky. I mean, even the most pure of lines can hit a root, like you said, or get a crazy skip long, and there is water behind the basket.
Mm-hmm. And to Mac's credit, you know, the guy we're talking about who kind of really takes care of this course, okay, Chris just says, you know what? Ain't no roots in the sky. Okay. Just plinkos it
Did
perfectly.
he throw a grenade?
It might have been just a spike hyzer with something really overstable, but it could have also been a grenade.
Because it looks like he released it straight, but
Yeah.
that was crazy.
Yeah, I know that's...
Call, though, great shot. That's one way to get rid of all the roots.
Yep. But I was saying Mac did his best to clear out some of this left-hand side to make it a little bit nicer, but it's still just a tough one.
It's pretty like slow down. Up, gap, perfect, and then it sits.
So probably a 50-foot downhill putt here for Cam.
Get in there, baby.
Buckets.
Great putt.
Beautiful putt for Cam. Now he's starting to warm up. As typically in this area, it's kind of Cam and Matty O kind of battling out for the top 2 spots, but recently we have seen a couple of other players in the area start stepping up and challenging them, so it's been kind of nice to see. And so there's definitely a lot of really high-level players in kind of the South Alabama area, as Hollingsworth being one of those guys, grabbed himself another birdie.
See where Chase ended up. He looks like he had the cleanest skip through.
Yep.
Downey looking back, seeing the camera and blocking the shot even more.
Really well done. This might be a little star frame action here.
First one of the round, the flukiest hole in the course, and these guys make it look easy.
Indeed they do. So we head over to hole 6, 220 feet water carry for the majority of it until like maybe the last 60 to 70 feet. Perfect.
And that's just a stock shot. It's just a hyzer, play it right to the basket. There is, because of the uphill slope behind the basket, I mean, you can drill it right at the base of it, and you should be parked for your birdie.
Yeah, sometimes this hole plays as an island once you cross, where if you go too deep of the pin, you could hit OB. But I don't believe they were playing it that way for this tournament. So I think there's no OB, no island, nothing to worry about.
Chase had a great line. He was almost ace running it and got a weird air bounce down, but he's parked.
Oh!
Speaking of great runs, Downey scaring the basket.
Here he is. The tomahawk. Dang, he blasted that thing. That's a tricky putt, too, downhill towards the water.
It seems like there's a little bit of swirling wind. Maybe the tailwind pushed it farther than he thought it would.
It was just tapping.
Usually guys that throw tomahawks, it's a way to control the distance, so it's actually surprising for him to go that long.
That's true. And this is a tough one, you know. Early in your round, do you really want to run this, or are you trying to lay up? Gives it a soft bid.
That was a good run.
That was a great
Good
run.
run. Good run.
I mean, if he misses and doesn't hit any metal, I mean, he's going all the way down the hill, possibly going over the end of the water.
Yep.
Good putt.
Spin putt there from Downey. Everyone else cleaning up and getting out of here as we head on over to hole 7. Oh no, I forgot we had a temp hole before 7. This is actually hole A. Just a kind of a low ceiling straight shot.
Looks like Cam was throwing a putter. I'm sure most guys will follow suit. You have some natural OB. You can ding up somebody's vehicle if you pull it a little right.
Yep. Yeah, I actually had just forgotten about this hole being added. This is a temp hole, not usually there.
Oh, yes, sir.
I'll let him commentate it himself. It was. But it's okay, Chase. You're still having a good round. As I actually almost aced this hole during the tournament. I hit the rim. I gotta give myself a self shout out every now and then, you know.
You gotta let the people know what
Heck
you
yeah.
can do.
I'm the best 856 rated player you've ever seen.
I've also heard you're very good.
I'm also very good at leaving disc behind on the course.
That's what I was about to say next.
Yep. I have a couple of things I'm known for in this area, and Leave it at that.
Adam got a.
Not too bad of a spot for Chase. I mean, with his reaction, I figured it would be a much worse result, but he has a run, and he hates that as well.
Little stepper here for Hollingsworth. Just never really got it enough height to give it a chance. So a couple of players settling for par, but Downey has a good look at birdie here. I'll tell you what, this basket makes you miss the Mach 2s from the rest of the course. Never thought you would ever feel that way about a Mach 2, but...
Especially with Downey, that's probably why his putt was so soft.
Yeah.
Because with a spin putt like that, I mean, Machs never catch spin putts very well, but you gotta have your pace on point for them to.
Oh yeah, you put that a little hard, it's coming out 100%. But again, a temp hole, so it's all good.
Come on, Josh.
And so now we get to hole 7. Par 3, 420 feet. Plays really uphill though, so you need much more than 420 to get to the pin.
Go down the right side.
Nice and low.
Seems like Cam is. You do have to keep it low, not that low, but there is a ceiling
Yes.
forcing you down. I wouldn't be surprised how Hollingsworth maybe there's a forehand down the left side.
Yeah, flex forehand down the left side is actually a really popular option if you have a power forehand because the left side is more open. As you said, I mean, that right-hand side, not only is it low ceiling, but there's also lots of trees. If you pull it a little too far right, you can get caught up on. So
Definitely something.
honestly, this is a really difficult par 3, almost never birdied. And actually, this hole changed after this tournament at the course. It's now par 4, and the tee's been moved back and up to the left. So this will be perhaps one of the last times we ever see the hole played this way on footage.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
There's that right side you were talking about.
No, no, no.
Oh, he rolled down the hill, too. Did he go OB, though, is the question. If it stayed in bounds, that's still such a hard scramble. Our last hope for birdie. Too much.
Yeah, that's in trouble. I don't think he got a cut roll out, so he's going to be in trouble.
The one thing is, if you can straddle out, you can probably still force over a forehand and get to the green. I would say being tangled up in the left-hand side is way better than being on the right-hand side. And actually, Chase did stay in, but again, this is just such a hard approach up the hill. What a beautiful shot, though.
That was an incredible shot.
Absolutely.
He was throwing uphill, had to keep it low underneath the limbs and hold the turn the entire way, and he parked it.
Yeah, that was so beautiful. Nice scramble there from Hollingsworth gets him up as well for a par. And that's generally what you see happen on this hole. Just a little pitch up for par.
Cam tucked up behind a tree, but he'll pitch up. Press par as well.
So it looks like we're about to just see a bunch of par tap-ins, which again is kind of the norm for this hole. Never really losing strokes on the field with the par on this one. Not when it was played this way. That'll do for hole number 7 to move into hole 8. Another par 4 here, just under 630. You do have to stay in the grass on this hole. Any cement is OB. So basically this little road in front of you kind of plays like a river, goes all the way to the right and bends into a parking lot, which is also OB. But I assume everyone on this card is looking to attack past this light pole and try to get up there, and well, Cam's nailed it.
Beautiful shot. It looks like there's swirling wind up there in the fairway. You don't want to pull it left. It's absolutely nothing.
Yeah, your biggest goals is to A, make the corner, which is, you know, that bush line on the left-hand side once you cross over the road, and then don't overturn it to the right and get into the parking lot, which this is in jeopardy of doing.
I'll have to imagine that skipped out of bounds with that much speed and that angle. There, it slopes down on that right side.
Mm-hmm. The parking lot comes in pretty quick on that right-hand side, so very likely OB. You do have the option to lay up to this grass patch like short right, but you almost never see it at this level.
And that's the left side that I was talking about. He didn't make the corner, and he's also deep in the rough. So there's not really a way to get forward. You kind of just have to pitch out and concede for a par.
Yeah, more than likely.
Huge overhand from Hollingsworth.
Some say it's still flying to this day. So I am curious to see where he wound up landing at. I know that guy definitely has the distance to push, you know, high 400s with that overhand. And that was Chase, I imagine, is pitching out.
That was Hollingsworth.
Oh,
this
okay.
Is Chase. It looks like they were in a similar position, actually. Which Chase actually, with a fortunate result from where his tee shot was released.
This man's scrambling like a king right now, especially when you look at what he did on hole 7 to scramble for par, and now that, to maybe even have a chance to score a birdie.
Forehands and backhands.
Crushing it. Ooh. That had some legs to it there for a second.
I mean, what can you say? Not many people can do that every single time.
And meanwhile, Cam threw this thing probably over 450 feet, so doesn't really have a whole lot to do on the approach. That's a little bit too much on it, though. Have to see what he's got. It could be tangled up in those trees with the obstructed putt.
If Chase can convert on this, this would be a miraculous birdie from where his tee shot landed.
Oh, 100% agree. Not too many people grabbing a birdie from over there. Oh. He was trying to get to the foyer and he wound up on the ground level instead. Unfortunate elevator putt there. I think I said that right. I don't know.
It's close enough.
Thanks. Downey will grab his birdie. Let's see if Cam can join him. How deep did he get in there? Oh, man. Maybe not too bad. He might have a little window here. He's certainly not far.
Knee pads soon. He's been on his knee a lot this round.
They do exist. That is a thing you can get. Yeah.
It's tough to settle for a par after his great tee shot.
Oh yeah, he just juiced the approach a little bit, and on this hole, there's not a whole lot of wiggle room on the backside, so tough one. We'll jump over to hole 9. Just need a big left to right moving shot, either forehand, backhand turnover, or some people will actually try to hit this gap between the trees on the right-hand side, but usually everyone plays wide left. You could also sometimes see backhand roller on this, but that's the ideal line. Oh yeah.
That's great.
Yes. Probably 15, 20 feet. I guess Downey is going gap. I know Downey is much more comfortable throwing backhands, though I certainly know he's capable of throwing a forehand this far.
Oh, get out of it.
He didn't like it. Straight into the
Chris, come on, man.
straight into the tree.
It's easy on.
Yeah, I mean, if you're playing the gap, it's just, it cuts some distance, but it requires a lot more accuracy. I mean, everything went wrong there. Too low, sunglasses, fell on the ground. Well, he's about to give it a little bit of extra, but pulls back.
Should be have a pretty open look for par though.
And that is launched. And yeah, probably 10, 15 feet for that one as well. So it looks like we are going to see a couple of birdies from Cam and Hollingsworth, and Downey and Bowen here just scrambling for par. Oh no.
And that's about a 60-foot putt from inside those trees.
Might even be more, honestly, and it's going to be obstructed too. That's going to be tough.
I'm surprised he went backhand off the tee shot and then had a knee forehand instead of going back with the backhand on the shot.
Hard to say, but this is the result he's left with. Nice try.
Hollingsworth with his birdie look.
Gets it done, no problem, and Cam right there parked on the backhand side should be joining him, and that's going to keep this card tight. I mean, Cam's about to play catch-up. I mean, he was 3 strokes back after the first 3 holes, and now we'll tie it up at 5 under with Downey and Chase, so good little resurgence from him as we are starting to near the end of our front 10.
It's like our first blemish for Chase. He was having a great round. Blemish free up until that point.
That'll be our first bogey for anyone on this feature card this round that I can think of off the top of my head. So, as you said, majority of the time this card's been on point. And that's going to do it for our front 10. We are going to take a look here at our check-in. As we were talking about, a couple of 5 unders, a couple of 4 unders, so feature card doing pretty well for themselves, but the course is starting to show its teeth a little bit more on this back half of the course.